Hello everybody, it's time to get the vengeance for all the previous losses in pretty bad shape so far. Chessbrah team has to redeem itself and to finally make the comeback. It's going to be very difficult. It is going to be probably the most important match so far, but okay. You can see the real heroes in the crucial moments. Okay, to be or not to be, that is the question. Good afternoon here. We're just watching probably the crucial match of this year, Pro League 2018, Montreal Chessbrahs against St. Louis Archbishops. We gotta put all our hopes in tonight's match. Simply, we gotta win this one. Our boys have to redeem themselves, and they have to win it. My name is Miodrag Perunovic, International Master from Serbia. I'll be your commentator tonight, and I hope that I'll be lucky this time. Let's get started with the games. By the way, just before that, let me just tell you the official lineups for tonight. For St. Louis Archbishops, we have on the first board Fedosev, Russian GM 2732. Then you have Jerebiuk and Varjuhan Akobian. Akobian 2662, Jerebiuk 2621, and finally we have Forrest Chan, whose rating is 1900, and that's our main hope in this match. On the other hand, Eric Hanson, Ivan Šarić, also Shyam Tevendiran, and finally Hua Lafong for the first time. Let's get started with the games, and let's get started with a game of our first board, Ivan Šarić against Forrest Chan. So the game started like d4, Šarić playing black, c4, g6, and went for very modern third move, f3. That is especially good against the Grunfeld players, and it's aimed against d5 guys. So Šarić opted for bishop g7, which means that he likes Samish type of King's Indian positions. After castles, knight c3, d6, bishop e3, a6. Which means that he probably wants to break with some c5 and b5 afterwards, playing sort of banco. After knight g on e2, went for knight bd7, queen d2, went for c5, d5, knight e5 attacking the pawn on c4, and after knight g3, breaking e6, which means that he didn't opt for a banco type of game, but for a typical Benoni type of game. After a4, e takes, bishop d7, bishop e2, and broke in the center immediately with b5. I once again have to say it's time to definitely get the vengeance for the last year. Whoever was following the Chessbrahs in the last year, you guys remember how great we played the last year. And if you remember, we were just playing the semifinals, and in the semifinals, after two really intense tie breaks, we eventually lost the match, even though we both times were leading and we were just losing in the last 15 seconds all these matches. If you remember, Caruana that year was playing for us. This year he's playing for St. Louis Archbishops, and he even, I believe, didn't see either to win the rook or to checkmate his opponent Wesley Saw last year, and he would just make us for the final. Anyways, that's why I said this is such an important match, not just because of the vengeance for this year, but because we definitely need to win this one. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very difficult to qualify for the rest of the competition and 16 finals. Okay, so Šarić is our first board so far. He made 4 games. Out of those 4 games, he made 3 out of 4, which is pretty good. actually the best, absolutely the best in our team. And believe it or not, last year we had like so many guys with such a good score. Caruana, Hanson, Hambleton, everybody was so good. This year, Shariati is the only one, and that's why we got to put all our hopes and simply bets on this guy. Also, I have to say that Shyam is doing pretty fine. He was doing fantastic in Super Saturday, 7 out of 8. By the way, we're still on the game first chance against Steven Shariati, and Shyam is another guy who really has to prove that his shape is and his good games and his result in the Super Saturday is not just temporarily good result. Finally, Eric Hansen, it's time to show off, and Eric Hansen didn't have such a great competition so far, but okay, it's time to make comeback as well. Okay, let's move on to the game of Eric Hansen. Hey, by the way, I forgot one more guy, Hua Lafong. So Lafong, wish you the best of luck, and let's just say that he's going to be the new shining star for the Chessbrahs. So let's take a look at the game of Hansen. Let's just start with the starting moves. Very difficult game for Eric Hansen from the very beginning. Yaroslav Zharabyuk playing white, e4, c5, knight f3, e6, d4, c takes knight e4, and Eric went for his opening from his childhood. So he actually went for his can opening. It's usually used by guys who like to play unclear positions with a lot of transpositions and pretty good counter chances for black. After a6, g3, Eric went for knight f6, bishop g2, bishop e7, castles, d6, c4, bishop d7, knight c6, bishop e2, castles, knight c3, and rook c8. I was moving a little bit faster through these moves because this is more or less just so typical. Looks like typical Hedgehog position, but it's not exactly. If the typical, if we were talking about the typical Hedgehog position, knight instead of c6 should have been on d7, and bishop instead of on d7 should have been on b7. Okay, so this is fairly normal position. White is always in this type of games just a little bit better because of more space. So we're going to wait for Zharabyuk's move, and in the meantime, I just have to tell you and to share with you some interesting observation. So what is our chance tonight? Our chance tonight is their fourth board. National Master Forrest Chen, whose rating is 1983. Why? Because all our guys are way higher rated than that guy, and let's just hope that our guys can make 4 points against that guy. In ideal circumstances, if that happens, and that is like very, very objective thing, because that is like really, really good thing, we just need to find 4.5 points more. I mean, you just have to keep in mind we have Shariati, who's one of the leading players, European and world, and of course Eric Hansen, who's also great in all these fast time controls. Not to mention that whatever Shyam takes or Hua Lafong does, that would be big like a rock. So let's just see what's going to happen there. Rook c1 with the idea to stop queen c7 because of knight d5, a typical middle game break by white. Let's have a look at the game against Hudinovic and Akobian. So Hudinovic playing white, e4, e6. That's better opening of ex-United States champion. So d4, d5, e takes d5. Very clever approach. He just wants to He just wants to hold his opponent. So after e takes, knight f3, knight f6, bishop d3, c5. I used to play these French variations, and I know that c5 should be a bit better against an immediate bishop d3. So d takes c5, bishop c5, castles, knight c3, that's a good thing, and h6. Probably he could have gone with okay, bishop f4, knight c6, a3 to stop any knight b4, h3, g4, bishop g6 captured, and plays b4. Shyam went for a little bit weird opening approach with the white pieces. He opted for not that popular French exchange variation. I gotta be honest and to tell you that I don't particularly like pawns on a3 and b4 and pawns on h3 and g4. I also don't especially like the choice of the opening, because I believe your best chances are if you just play normal variations and normal chess. But okay, let's just see what he's got up his sleeve, and is he gonna be able to make some special surprises in this game. Okay, let's take a look at the fourth game for tonight, and that's the game between our fourth board and their first board. Vladimir Fedosev, such a strong player, one of the world leading young players, Russian GM, 2731. Do you know what does it mean? It's really unbelievably high rating. So Lafont played c4, English opening, e5, g3, knight f6, bishop g2, c6, and after d4, that's the best way to fight against this black's d5 approach. This guy played bishop to b4. After knight c3, d6, knight f3, e4, knight g5, d5. So this is pretty nice approach by black to get some space out of the opening. After castles, h6, knight h3, d takes c4, a3, bishop a5, bishop f4, bishop f5. I'm just moving a little bit faster throughout these moves so we can reach the position, current position. Bishop e5, knight bd7, knight f4, queen e7, queen a4, bishop c3, b takes, knight e5, queen e5, queen c4, g5, kicking that knight away from the center. He's already up, if I'm correct. He's up a pawn, knight d5, and this position doesn't look bright at all for Lafont. He's just played queen d4, trying to exchange those queens. He's down a pawn, and this is objectively should be easy game for Fedosev because he's already up a pawn. He's also up on time, up materially, and his position looks way better. I don't want to say winning, but it really looks way better because he's up a pawn. I'm not fully satisfied with this position, but okay, let's be honest, we do not, and we shouldn't have such a high expectations because this is our lowest rated guy against highest rated guy from the St. Louis Archbishops. Okay, let's get back to the game between Shariati and Forrest Chen. Ooh, I like what I see on the board. That's good, but that has to be our strategy. You know, even though they have 2700 GM and two really top 2600 GMs, that's a pretty risky, let's just say, tactical team approach because they have one weak player and they risk to lose all 4 points on that guy. On the other hand, we have Shariati and Eric Hanson, which means, guys, you gotta do something good against Jerebuk and Akobian. So let's just take a look at this. let's just take a look at this. Let's get back to the move 13, when Shariati played b5, breaking on the queen side. His opponent went for castles. B takes a4, h3, bishop b5. I like this move because at the same time it gives support to the b5 pawn. Knight b5, a takes, bishop b5, rook b8, which means that he went for, he just wants to go knight f to d7 with rook b2 followed by knight f3, and guess what? His opponent blundered that, which I like very much. And after this, it's his turn. Okay, he doesn't have time and doesn't have place for this knight, but okay, he's got a queen h4 move, for example, because he would also have problems with the knight on g3. So I kind of like this position. Somebody in the chat room said knight is trapped. Okay, but that's not a point of Benoni opening. The point is control of the dark squares, activity of the dark square bishop, good control of the, yes, exactly. This is like good thing. When I said blunder, I really meant that because, okay, this guy probably had in mind that he's going to trap that knight, but I spoke about this move, queen h4. I definitely prefer black's game because he has to play some knight h1, in which case he can even go with a move like, well, I don't know. I'm not afraid of anything there. I'm not afraid of anything there because he just has such a nice activity and he can even sack that piece. For example, knight b6, f takes e5, bishop e5. Full control of the dark squares, strong bishop on e5, great control of the second rank with a rook on b2, queen on h4 that could always come up with some attacking ideas, and I like this one. Also, don't forget that pawn on a4, it could also become a queen in some deep endgame. Okay, I like Shariati's game. We'll get back to this game. Let's take a look for us. Very important game. Also, I just have to say it's the game between Shariati and Hanson. So we'll get back to the move number 12 when White played rook c1. Hanson played queen a5. And after a4 to stop b5, Eric went for queen b6, attacking both. Knight on d4 and the pawn on b3. After knight takes c6, bishop takes c6, rook, you know what, I just want to make one thing here. If you force your opponent to take on c6, you kind of lose the tension in the center. That actually helps black's position. Rook e1, knight d7, nice movement by black, because he just wants to play rook f to d8, bishop f6, for example, and put that knight on c5 or e5 in some positions. That's why Jacobian went with the knight d5, bishop takes d5, e takes d5, and Eric played old, good Capablanca's rule in middle games. What is that? Put all your pawns on the squares of hostile bishop, which means in this case e5, and look at the bishop on b2, it doesn't look that active anymore. So after e5, his opponent played bishop h3 and Eric went for f5. I kind of like this one because he can now go and break with some, at some point, of course not now, f4 or just e4, bishop f6, knight e5 at some point. This is good position for black. It's based on good control of the dark squares, and I like this a5. Exactly, he's completely following the Capablanca's rule, and let's just shut this dark square bishop off in the white's position. Okay, king g2, typical prophylaxis by white, removing the queen from the diagonal because the queen is standing on b6. g6, I like this one as well because we definitely want to play some e4 or f4 at some point, but definitely e4 way better. And in that case, if you want to come up with any bishop f6, knight e5, we don't want to have this pawn on f5 hanging. Okay, this looks good. I like Eric's position. I like Eric's position. I like it very much. This move. Probably he shouldn't go with e4, but bishop f6. Getting like more of flexibility in that position. Sorry for my coughing. I was sick as a dog the last couple of days, so I just tried to recover for this commentary. So bishop f6, exactly. And this looks okay. Looks very... now this is another situation. Previously we had the pawns on the dark squares that were shutting off the dark square bishop. And now the light square bishop after h7, g6, and f5, he now went for g4, trying to open up the light square bishop. Exactly. That's a pretty good reaction, and he definitely has to give this bishop some open files and diagonals there. Okay, g4, I believe it's very normal move here. Yeah. Somebody in the chat room asked me about the Valentine's Day. Okay, happy Valentine's Day, all you big lovers. So, wish you as many as possible girlfriends in your near future. Okay, and such a beautiful life. Okay, so I just have to tell you very bad news. We already lost one game. Lafong lost. As far as I see, Lafong lost against Fedosev, but okay. Previously I told you that we didn't have any really high or objective expectations out of that game. It's Eric's turn. You know what? E takes f4, g takes f5, and g5 in order to keep that light square bishop closed. So not to take on g4 like somebody suggested, because in that case light square bishop and even queen could become a monster, but we really need to go with e takes f4, g takes f5, and g5. I like that one. Gives us a great dark square bishop, and at the same time would at least keep that bishop on h3 closed. Okay, so let's move to the game of Hudinovic against Akobian. And he's, at first glance, I was attacking the guy like coward approach, or he was just looking for a draw or whatever. No, I was joking, of course, but I didn't quite like the opening approach. But what I see now is a pretty good position for white. Actually, his opponent is threatening to take on h3. I didn't see that one, but he can play rook to d3. Rook to d3, and that would certainly make his position looking... Yeah, f2 pawn is not weak. Somebody asked, does a rook d3 work? Rook to d3. Rook to d3, queen to h3, rook f3, and then a rook to d1, with another idea of playing rook to d3 once again. Oh, he went for rook to d6. And in case of queen h3, probably some queen g6. In case of rook h3, I don't see mate for black. But you know what is dangerous? Rook h3, and if he does something, rook g3 for black. So that's what he's threatening. Somebody asked me, does it look good for white? Or he said, this is good for white. I have a lot more chess to learn. Well, you really have to, because queen on e4 is well placed in the center. This position at first glance looks terrifying, but I don't see a real threat. The only threat I see at the moment is rook h3 followed by rook g3. On the other hand, queen on e4 controls two very important squares, g2 and h1. He threatens the g6 pawn. His bishop on c5 controls the potentially weak pawn on f2. So, black doesn't have any tactics with f2. It really looks scary, but I don't see how is black going to make, even if queen takes on h3, how is he going to carry on there? Somebody said, no, rook g3 is over. No, rook g3 is not over. You take on g3, queen takes g3, and then you play queen g2. You guys keep forgetting about the powerful queen on e4. So this looks okay. Or at least, of course, that black is the one who's forcing the matters here and who's in the driver's seat. But I believe that white has a very good counter chances. That's my point. So I'm just trying to concentrate a little bit more and to prove myself that I'm wrong. Also, you just have to keep in mind one thing. This guy Jacobian is taking like 2 minutes for the last move, which means position is not that easy. He's like one of the top guys, top world once again, a Blitz guys, ex-United States champion. He certainly knows what he's doing, and believe me, if this position was that easy, he would immediately make his move. Otherwise, he wouldn't lose almost 3 minutes in this case. Okay, we'll get back to this game. I kind of like what's happening here, and let's just hope that Shyam can come up with some tricks. Let's get back to Šarić's game. Oh, great news. Šarić is completely winning. Šarić is completely winning. We don't have time to go back to see all these moves. Actually, let me just see. Let's get back to the move 20 when he played queen h4, and briefly to go king h2, rook to b3. Exactly, that's exactly what I told you. Knight f6 threatening knight g4, and after f takes, he came up with great tactics. Queen g3, knight e4, took on e5, took on d2. What a beautiful game. Took on a1, played rook b2. This is terrific. This is terrific. That's exactly what Benoni's game full of tactics. Bishop c3, rook b1. He's dead winning, and let's immediately go to Hanson's game. So Jarabuk against Hanson. Once again, we're gonna move to the move like 22, where he played g4. Eric captured on f4, and after g takes f5, I was suggesting g5. Eric went with knight e5. F takes g6, threatening the rook. Eric played rook c7. I like that one. That's a nice slide over the 7th rank. Bishop e6, king h8, rook c3, knight takes g6, rook h3, and this also looks absolutely fine. Eric is blackhand. He's got position looks like absolutely unclear, and this gives us good chances. f3 does he have any tactics? What if queen f3? On queen f3, knight h4 didn't work because of rook h4, bishop h4, queen f8. He played king h1, f2. I like this f2 pawn. I like it. Okay, let's see. What does he have on his mind here? Probably rook g7 at some point to be able to support it with some bishop d4 and rook g1 eventually. Okay, I like Eric's position as well. We're gonna keep looking at these games. Just briefly, let's check the game between Tevenderan and his opponent. Look at this. Tevenderan is like 2 pawns up. The guy didn't even take the pawn on h3. He's defending everything. This is looking great. This is looking great. Just for a moment, I'm looking at his game, and at very first glance, he's 2 pawns up. His bishop is controlling everything. Queen is like dominating piece here, just bring the queen back to g2 and everything is in full control. Then rook e1 and that's it. Let's get back to Sharik's game. He won. Congratulations to our first board. Ivan Šarić once against one, so that's a great news. That's a great news. Congratulations there. And let's get back to the Hanson's game. That's probably the craziest game of this round. For now, St. Louis Archbishops were leading 1-0, but don't forget Ivan Šarić won, so at the moment is 1-1. So 2 more games to be played. Eric played bishop e5. He's looking for some knight f4 and rook g7. Definitely he's got to keep this rook on f8, defending the pawn on f2. Queen on b6 is doing a good job. Bishop on a3 does nothing. That's Eric's hope, at least for a moment. And that's why if I was white, I would probably play some bishop f1, giving some role to that bishop. This is a good thing. This is a good thing. Let's please bring some hype and energy to our guys. We need it. And don't forget, I started this stream with to be or not to be. That is the question. Okay. So this is going to be a very, very intense fight. 40 seconds for Jerebiuk, 25 seconds for Hanson. Don't forget, after each move, they just get like 2 more seconds. So that's the increment here. And we're gonna see some really crazy stuff here. Rook g7, Eric is probably looking for some tactics. Pawn on f2 at the moment is untouchable. That's why I suggested at some point bishop d4 instead of bishop e5. Probably he had something else in his mind. Bishop c1 exactly, threatening bishop h6. This is looking a little bit tricky by white. Eric's time is ticking away. White is threatening bishop h6. Probably has to take on f3. Probably has to do it. Queen d8. What if bishop h6? What if bishop h6 exactly? Rook f3, bishop g7. Eric probably wants like good control of the dark squares. But what if queen f2 now, defending the mate on h2? Wow, he's only, yeah, exactly. Probably he was supposed to play, bishop d4 to defend the pawn on f2. Threatening mate, queen f2, okay, queen c3. Go with queen d2 once again, exactly. Oh, rook f7 now. Queen h3 and rook f7 and checkmate is coming. Let's immediately move to the game between Hudinovic won on time. Shyam has just won his game on time. Oh my God, look at this. So he beat Akobian. This is what we need. This is exactly what we need. Hanson lost, but you know what? Like complete shock, we just get another result. So Shyam beat Akobian. This is an amazing result. What a crazy, crazy game. So let me just go there. Okay, so I'm just looking for one big sorry because one guy told me that he really has to learn a lot about this game. Yes, you definitely have to. Okay, so let's take a look at the game and let's get back to the move 23 when he played rook to d6 and 97 he played rook to d3 defending the pawn on h3 somehow. Probably Akobian had to take that pawn on h3 somehow. He played rook f4, queen b7, h5. He brought the queen back to g2, defending the pawn on g4 and having the queen around. So after like knight g8, rook e1, exactly, we spoke about that, to activate that rook. And at the same time, look at the bishop on c5, attacking the pawn on a7, doing a great job defending the pawn on f2, and rook on e1 comes back into the game. Rook on d3 is doing a great job defending there on the third rank and defending the king. Knight f6, rook g3, what a nice defense. Rook c4, g takes h5, knight h5, rook g4. I like the move, forcing his opponent to exchange pieces. And look at this. Give me your rook, baby. So he took the rook, and after knight f4, played queen g3, knight h5, queen h4, queen f3, rook g4, rook f6. With a rook up, he just had to realize his opponent after queen g4, queen c3, rook e3, queen a1, king h2, queen f1, rook f3, very nice, rook f8, queen c8, queen e5, f4, and Akobian couldn't stop the checkmate on h8. Fantastic win for our third board in this match. Shyam continues to make unbelievable results in this competition. Don't forget, we still haven't played against Buenos Aires Kraken's. That could also be one of our chances. And we're just waiting for the second round. And in the second round, we'll see Fedosev against Shyam, Akobian against Lefong, Jarabuk against Ivan Šarić, and Forešćan against Hanson. Let's go. Ivan Šarić against Jarabuk. Okay, Ivan Šarić playing white. That's a great thing. He's white. He went for his favorite e4 opening, c5, knight f3, d6, and g3. By the way, I just have to tell you, it's very important for our top guys to have black pieces. For example, in previous games, Šarić was black against Forešćan, so he can use his white pieces against these high-rated guys. Okay, so after d3, g6, bishop g2, bishop g7, castles, rook e1, knight c6, c3. This is more or less some mixed between King's Indian type of positions, then some other type of games. Okay, it's more or less very normal position. We'll get back to this game. It's just very normal. Eric Hansen against Forešćan. Let's just hope that Eric can have some real stuff in this game. It's very important to make, once again, 100% against this guy. So Eric went for the ready opening. Let's just start. No, he actually went for the English c4, c6, g3, d5, bishop g2, knight f6, knight f3, bishop g4. But now they just transposed to ready. That's why I said ready, c takes, and Eric played knight e5. By the way, Eric is threatening now knight takes g4, knight takes g4, queen g4. Actually not, black has queen d7. So definitely black is gonna play bishop f5. Yes, that's what he's just done. Probably some knight c3 followed by queen b3, because as soon as the light square bishop is out of control of b7, he's supposed to have this one. Do you know what I like in these positions? G4. Now when there is disconnection between these pieces, I like G4, because none of the black pieces can take on G4 because of queen a4 check eventually. Exactly. Great move by Eric. So G4, if black takes, Eric is gonna certainly play knight takes G4 and queen a4. But what's gonna happen if bishop G6, H4? Kick off with H4. He can defend the bishop. Exactly. Perfect. I like this one very much. So he used some tactics in, at first glance, very boring ready opening. And this is what I like. If he plays where he goes with H6 or H5, he's going to first take the bishop on G6, taking both the bishop pair and at the same time breaking the pawn structure and getting like terrible pawns on the light squares. If queen c7, he's just going to support that knight with d4. exactly the same might happen if knight bd7, knight c6, or whatever. I like Eric's position already very much. Let's get back. Actually, let's take a look at the game between Fedoseev and Shyam. Okay, Fedoseev playing with white, e4, a6, d4, d5, went for the Tarrasch opening, c5, knight g on f3, knight f6, e5, knight f2, d7, and they went and they actually transposed into the Kasparov's variation, one of the most tactical variations with the white pieces against the French. Bishop d3, bishop e7, looking for some g5 in some positions, looking for some h5, what Morozevich did once, followed by g5 and g4, looking for some castles in some lines, looking for some c takes d4, queen b6, and a5 in some positions. But Shyam went with a5 and c4. I've seen Nigel Short playing this once in some rapid or blitz games. Knight b6, knight g3, h5. This is a good approach. You should always kick off with h5 as soon as the knight comes to g3. Okay, Fedoseev played queen d2, controlling the dark squares and definitely stopping g5 by black. Okay, it's Shyam's turn, so we gotta check what is he gonna go for. He can play h4, but probably he should put all his hopes into this g5 idea. Okay, let's take a look at the game of Lefong. So Lefong playing white, Lefong playing black against Akobian, and after d4, knight f6, c4, c5, he played King's Indian at first glance. It was like typical King's Indian. Then he went for e6, and after e takes d5 at some point, played rook e8 and played sort of Benoni defense. So after bishop e3, played d6, queen d2, and it's his turn. So this is some mix between King's Indian and Benoni. I really have to say that in all these positions, white always looks a bit better. But okay, to be honest, with this open bishop on g7, I don't see any problems in black's game as well. So this is pretty promising position, at least after the opening for black. King h7, I don't like too much king on h7, because at some point his opponent can play some bishop d3 and maybe play some h4 and h5. So in these positions, this king sometimes could turn out to be a piece under the attack. Let's take a look at Hanson's game. Oh, I really like what I see on the board. So after Eric played h4 in ninth move, so let's go to the ninth move. That's where we stopped. His opponent played bishop d6. Eric supported the knight. We spoke about that. And after h6, the guy desperately wanted to put his bishop back on h7, but sorry, it's too late. Knight takes g6, queen d3 threatening the pawn g6, king f7, and kicking that knight away with g5. H takes g5, h takes g5. Eric's position looks devastating. I also see some tactics on horizon. Knight takes d5 as soon as this knight moves. Knight takes d5, e takes d5, bishop d5, followed by queen g6. But he first has to secure his king with some bishop d2. Let's just see what is he gonna go for. So I also, bishop, if knight h5, e4, if knight g8, well, can he play knight d5? Can he play e4? Also bishop d2. I like this position so much. Eric is way better in this position, and exactly, of course, he's got a bishop pair, his king is exposed in the center, and Eric has to exploit that, and that's why he's just played e4. This is great, and Eric's position looks so promising. Okay, this is good. Let's immediately move onto the game of Ivan Šarić. This is such an important game. Šarić playing white. Okay, we stopped here at the moment where he played 8 moves. So let's get back to the 8th move. C3, that's where we stopped our analysis on this game. So Šarić played C3, E5. E5 is very typical move in such positions. It's aimed against D5 to get some space and to play some sort of King's Indian type of positions where black just wants to break on the king side at some point with, I don't know, with F5, knight H5, F5, or just to play bishop G4 and to stop D4 for black. Šarić played A3 to play some B4, getting some space on the queen side. H6, typical move to pave up the way for the bishop to come to E6, B4, B6, B5, knight E7, A4, A4, knight A6, knight A3, bishop E6, bishop B2, knight D7, B takes A6, knight B5, D5, and there we go, E takes, knight takes. We're looking at the current position. Position is pretty unclear. But if I have to choose this side, well, if I had to choose after these D4, I definitely say white. But of course, it's just a bit better for white, so it's nothing that special, but okay, it's very solid position. And don't forget, Šarić is our, all together with Shyam this year, he's our bright, shining star in the Chessbrahs team. Okay, so D4, after C takes, C takes, C takes, and probably some knight D4 to chase away the light square bishop. So that's why I think they have to take E takes, C takes to pin the bishop on B2 and then to make some prophylactic move. So that's what I see for them there. E takes, C takes, and something. But I still have to say I like Šarić's position here. Okay, we'll get back to this game. Oh, E takes, exactly. We spoke about this. And probably some knight b4 or bishop g4, for example, to pin the knight and to control, to get like better control of the d4, maybe to attack that pawn somehow. He went with knight c7. Okay, we'll get back to this game. Let's go to Shyam's game against Fedosev. Things are moving fast there. Let's get back to move number 13. Last move by Fedosev was queen d2. Shyam played b4, queen f4, played a4, and after knight e2, played a3. This guy has no fear. I like his games, even though I was criticizing his opening approach. I just have to say sorry, and I really, not in this game, of course. In this game, I like this system for black, but in the first game, and after b takes a3, he now went for b3. And after queen g3, it's his turn, and probably king f8 was typical French move. He went for bishop f8. I said king f8 because at some point, maybe he could have gone with some g5 somehow, sometimes. So after a takes b3, c takes b3, knight d2, and it's his move. Well, knight a5, with the idea of defending the pawn and jumping with this pawn on c4. Okay, I like this one. White certainly looks a bit better with more space. But also I see some pretty good counter chances for black. Objectively, knight bc4 here looks... he went for bishop a6. Why not knight bc4? Okay, he probably wanted to trade the weakest piece in the French, but now he's got problems with the b3 pawn. That's why I kind of liked, and you know what, after knight bc4 I saw bishop d7, bishop a4 to give like better support to that b3 pawn. Now I believe he's just lost a pawn. Or he's going to lose it. Okay, let's go to Eric's game. Eric Hanson won. That's a great thing. Finally, in these streams, we can finally say that Montreal Chessbrahs are in the lead. Okay, so we're leading, and let's get back to the move number 16. Eric played e4, the guy played knight e7, Eric captured, took on d5, knight takes e7, queen e7, played king f1, rook e8, went with the bishop d5 check, and queen f3, 22 moves. That was really, he completely dismantled his opponent this game. Great game by Hanson, and don't forget, objectively, we were expecting this win because this is their lowest rated guy, and Eric came with great g4. Once again, I have to show you this game, but I'll do it after we... Actually, let's just take a look at the game again. So Eric went with c4, playing the English, and after c6, hoping for some Slav defense, Eric went with g3. And after d5, bishop g2, it can look like Catalan if white plays d4 at any point. Okay, but objectively speaking, it wouldn't be such a good Catalan with pawn on c6. So Eric went with knight f3, which announced ready opening. And after bishop g4, he captured, played knight e5. And after bishop f5, went with this knight c3, hoping that his opponent could make this typical mistake and play e6. And then Eric came up with this key move in this strategy, g4. I like this g4 move a lot. He immediately launched the attack on the king's side and started chasing this dark light square bishop. After bishop g6, h4, bishop had absolutely no way to be saved. Probably his opponent put some hopes into bishop d6, but after d4, even bishop e5, d takes e5, knight e4 wouldn't work because eventually his opponent just has h5, knight c3, b takes bishop e4, and f3, trapping up the light square bishop. So after like h6, Eric captured, queen d3, threatening the pawn on g6, king f7, g5. I like this move just because he's kicking this knight away and taking great control over the light squares. After h takes, rook h1, bishop h1, he now went with such a logical thing with e4. e4 is great because he's opening up the game, opening up his bishops, diagonals for them, and simply trying to take advantage of the king on f7. After knight e7, captured on d5, played knight d5, and after knight e7, queen e7, king f1, nice final touch with bishop d5 and queen f3. That's it. Knockout, and Montreal Chessbrahs are in the leading. Okay, we're leading 3-2 against St. Louis Archbishops. Let's go to the game between Varjohan Akobian and Hua Lefong. Lefong is defending like a lion this game. Okay, white is better, but okay, Lefong has very healthy pawn structure. We're just gonna get back to the move 12, where Akobian's move was bishop e3. He played d6, queen d2, king h7, castles, bishop g4, rook a to e1, bishop f3, g takes, rook e8, bishop f4, queen f6, controlling the dark squares, defending the d6 pawn and preparing knight d7, bishop d1, knight d7, connecting rooks on the back rank, king g2, knight e5. This is probably crucial thing in Benoni type of games because you just need to control the dark squares. That's the main approach in the Benoni stuff. And after rook e4, rook e7, rook a to rook f to e1, rook a to e8, b3, a6, a4, b6, bishop g3, king g8, queen e2, king f8, h4, probably some h5, or maybe g5 with control of the dark squares. That would be like very, very, I would say, logical follow-up in Benoni type of games. Also, some knight d7 in this position could be fine. So this looks okay for Lafon. At least it doesn't look even way worse. Why a5? A5, like, as long as you have your pawn on a6, you can always, in some deep endgame, break it with b5. Why this a5 move? And by the way, what if rook f4 here? Wait a sec. What if rook f4? Ah, maybe he's got knight d7. Wait a sec. Rook f4, knight d7, rook f6, rook e2, bishop d6. Doesn't look good. Doesn't look good, exactly. Rook f4. Yeah, I believe he blundered badly, this rook f4 idea. That's why I suggested some g5 ideas. I kept talking about control of the dark squares, and yeah, this is exactly what I kept talking. So g5, control of the dark squares. It wouldn't only stop f4, pawn on h4, it would also stop this rook f4. I believe he's lost in this position. Let's go to Šarić's game. Šarić against Žerevyuk. So once again, we'll get back to the move number 18 when he played d4, e takes, c takes, knight c7. We just said that after knight c7, okay, the disposition was roughly equal, maybe a bit better for white. Knight c7, queen c7, d5, bishop g4, bishop g7, king g7, d6, rook e7. Wow, this is getting better and better for white. Knight f6, queen d3, eyeing probably that pawn on g6 with some knight h4 sometimes. Can he play knight h4 with some queen g6 ideas here? That's my idea. b5. Oh, this is pretty nice plan by black. This is pretty nice move. He's not only threatening to get a pawn back on d6, but also connecting these pawns, threatening to take the pawn on a4. This b5 move looks good. Okay, what if knight h4? Knight h4 threatening queen g6. So we want to do some tactics as well. Knight h4, probably king has to move somewhere, like king h8, but in that case, knight g6, f takes, queen g6, rook g8 does not work because of queen f6 checkmate. I mean rook g7 and then queen g7 checkmate. Knight h4, probably king g8. Then I play knight g6. But then they play rook takes d6. So let's just go with this. Knight h4, king g8, and then I first support my pawn. Yeah, or on d6. He played rook to d1. Okay. Somebody said, I feel like 95 works here. No, 95 didn't work there because of 95 bishop f5. That's the difference between my knight h4 and 95. So that's the difference. Okay. So rook d1, he's supporting the pawn on d6. He's simply giving up on the pawn on a4 and threatening the pawn g6. This is pretty nice. Shariati is threatening. No, he's definitely threatening now knight h4, because if knight h4, king g8, then knight g6, followed by queen g6 and checkmate. Also, rook d6 wouldn't work anymore. But wait a sec. Let me just see something. Knight h4, yeah, bishop d1 doesn't work because of queen g6, queen f6. This is looking okay. But what if bishop f5? That could be an interesting option. Bishop f5, probably some queen d2 to defend the pawn on d6. Exactly. Well, he's got two options: to carry on with initiative and to play queen d2, or to take the pawn on b5, in which case black grabs the pawn back on d6, rook takes d6, queen d6, and position would most likely go into the drawish waters. Okay, let's go to Shyam's game. Hambleton is Shyam against Fedosev. Wow, look at this. Hembo just sent a message in the chat room. Shyam, I have a draw now. Wow, against the Fedosev 2700 guy. Shyam is doing great. This guy is really, really great in these time controls. Okay, his last move is knight f2, knight d2, threatening knight f1, knight g3, knight f1 with perpetual check. Wait a sec, does Fedosev have anything here to stop this? This guy's really amazing. I really like his chess. I really like his attitude. He's very brave, and I really have to say that I regret my words that his opening choice against French was that he was looking for a draw there. No, he's got his own systems. I like this one so much. Look at this. He's playing against Fedosev and amazing stuff. Okay, how is this guy going to stop this? Maybe. Oh, I was about to say g4, but in case of g4, knight f3, he just has to keep looking at his time, because this might be a problem. He's left like 55 seconds, but don't forget about that. They're getting like 2 seconds increment after each move. That's a good news. And by the way, knight g3, knight f1. Oh no, wait a sec. I was about to say knight f1. Queen f2. What else? Queen f2. He can even force the win in if this guy wants to play something. Queen g4. Okay. Probably Fedosev wants to go with some knight h5 and counterattack. Shyam probably should take the measure of precautions and put the king on f8. King f8. If he wants to go with something there. To be honest, I couldn't see anything for Fedosev. Yes, I like this move. I couldn't see anything for Fedosev to avoid these perpetual checks, but this is the master class, and he found a way to carry on with this position and to look for some chances. So Shyam played knight f1. This is looking very drawish. It has to be draw. Let's just hope that he can hold his opponent. Queen g5 threatening mate in 1. g6, okay, defending that mate. We're gonna keep looking at this game because this is very important. This could be another break in this match. Shyam solidified position of his king, playing king g7, queen c4. Well, I wish he placed his queen on f5, because that queen was also doing great. Oh, queen c2, I like it. Controlling the f5, attacking the pawn on g2. I like his position. His queen is way more active than white's queen. So this is good. Come on, guy. You're not supposed to lose this one for sure. So queen b1, yes, exactly. Queen g3, there are no checks, but okay, queen f1 or queen d1, exactly. Controlling h5 by white, also controlling the pawn on d4, tying up this queen on e3 for the pawn on d4. So if h5, g takes h5 easily. Queen d3 now. Okay, he's avoiding this check. King f4. His opponent wants to make some break in this position. He wants to play king g5 here. I'm always afraid of this master class, how they improve their chances in this type of games. Look at this. Shyam is threatening. Well, he had to take, otherwise king h6 and queen f6. Shyam is threatening g5 now. Okay, that's why he played king e3, king g7. On any king f4, he has to go into diagonal opposition. And if he gets the position where it's his turn with the kings on f4 and h6, he will always be able to play some g5 and to even push that game for a win. King f4, king h6. He should not waste his time here. He should repeat the same thing. Why king g8? Why king g8? Why not king h6? h5. Why did he play that? I really don't get it. Why king g8? I don't get a move, man. Okay, let's go to the game. Akobian won. Eric Hanson won, and finally we're checking the game of Shariati. Well, that was like pretty bad loss for us. I really don't understand why did he play in that position, that move. I'm really surprised. But okay, we'll have to see what's happening there. Let's just go back to this game. So Ivan Šarić against Žerebiuk. Position is looking better for black. He's up a pawn there. I'm just having problem to find the game of Šarić at the moment, so just give me a moment, please. Okay, I'm there. Šarić is down a pawn. Would he be able to save this position? That would be very important, at least to make a draw here. Yes, nice, perfect. He's now exchanging the bishops and weakening the pawn on c4. If bishop e6, what if bishop e6? Knight on f6 is pinned. Hey, he can play bishop f1 and get a pawn on c4. Maybe that one. Queen d8, knight e4. Well, he can now even squeeze his opponent out and look for a win if he plays g4 and h4. Queen e5 now. Queen e5. Play. Okay, bishop f1 as well. Play that queen e5 because he's simply moveless. Queen e5. Okay, looks like he's ready for a draw there. Queen c6 with the idea of bishop h1. Queen c7 stopping that. Okay, simply they're moving too fast. We cannot. He's not supposed to move the queen because of some c3 moves. Exactly, I was about knight e4. Look at the tactics. Look at the tactics. Look at this. Wow, I like it. He came up with great trick. Why this? Why not knight takes c3? Why not knight takes c3? He thought he was winning a piece. I believe he blundered. He blundered there. I believe if he had taken the pawn on c3, for sure that would have been a draw. Yeah. Well, he came up with fantastic 94 tactics there. Yeah, now it's lost. Oh, that was tough round for us. Let's get back to that position. Let's go back to Shariat's game and the moment when he played 94. Queen c6. It's a move 52. So it's a move 52, knight e4. That's a very nice tactics. He played queen e5, and I at that moment, I said like he wasn't supposed to move that queen because of c3 for black. And then after c3, he came up with this really fantastic move, knight e4, queen c6, and now he just had to take the pawn on c3. Okay, let's get back to the moment, like, I don't know, moment. Let me just see. At some point I was talking about some queen e5 for white. Here, 44th move, 44th, bishop e2, queen e7, and Šarić had queen e5 here. Or maybe he didn't have queen e5. That's my question. But look at this. His opponent is almost moveless after queen e5. Bishop cannot move. Knight cannot move. King cannot move. Only queen can go to d8. And if the queen goes to d8, he can go back with the queen. Or, wait a sec, what if bishop takes h5 there? What if bishop takes h5 there, and if g takes h5, queen g5? Maybe it would be too much. King f8, knight f6. Maybe black can come up with some tactics on the light squares. That pawn on c4 looks terrifying as well, but at least I see some tactics in those positions. Let's move now. Let's move to the crucial moment of the game between Akobian and Lefong. So Akobian, 26th move. Akobian played h4. Akobian played h4. And now I immediately criticize him for playing, even if rook f4 didn't work. I don't like a5 because it deprives you of any counter chances afterwards in some endgame. But what if h4, and if in this position he opted for the move that I suggested during the game, g5, then no more rook g5. Okay, this position definitely looks better for white. I don't know, still he can go with h5, getting some space and threatening the pawn f4. And then going back with the knight on d7, trying to control the matters on the board. I'm not saying anything, I'm just trying to say that he could have defended this position way better, and that his position wasn't bad at all at the moment when he blundered rook f4. Unfortunately, he did blunder that. I'm your commentator tonight, International Master Miodrag Perunovic from Serbia, and we're analyzing the game between Eric Hanson and Vladimir Fedosev. Eric playing white, and he went for English opening once again. c4, knight f6, knight c3. That's a very interesting approach because Eric has never been like an English player. He used to play that in some blitz and even in some tournament games, but it wasn't like part of his main repertoire. Tonight, for the second time, he just used that as his main weapon here. Let's go, guys. The best of luck, and we definitely need some break. In previous round, we made so many blunders, unfortunately, but that's the way it is. Let's go with some energy. Let's go with some hype. Let's go with some support. Let's go with some donations. Let's go with some subscriptions. We just want to see support for the chessbrah. So Hanson against Fedosev. Hanson is playing with the white pieces. Knight f3. In every single moment, they can go into some hedgehog type of games if they go b6, into King's Indian type of games if they go g6. They can go in some other type of English openings. And Eric played e3. He didn't want to play g3 and going for the typical hedgehog. He just went with this one, e3, and after e6, probably wants to go with some d4, which could enter into Coley defense. Coley defense with d4, one of my favorite openings with white pieces here. I just hope that Eric will remember our analysis. So after bishop e7, bishop d3, and this is very interesting. This game keeps transposing from one opening to another. Now he played d5. Okay, I like Eric's opening. I like Eric's opening very much. He now went with a d5, and now he should support that pawn with e4. I like this opening very much. It looks okay, and usually that pawn on b6 just looks kind of useless in a black strategy. This was good for white. This was good opening for white. I like Eric's position. He played c takes d5. This is not even a typical Benoni because bishop is on e7. So this is an improved version of Benoni for white. h3, restricting the light square bishop. But I guess that's why Fedosev made a castle. He wants to play bishop a6. For all of you who's wondering what was happening if he hadn't played castle and went for bishop a6, then bishop a6, knight a6, queen a4 check, and losing the knight on a6. Now he wants to play rook e8, bishop f8, g6, bishop g7 to remaneuver that bishop on g7 and to find a better place and better diagonal for that bishop. So Eric went for bishop d3. Black will certainly go with bishop f8, g6, and bishop g7, but it's Fedosev's turn. This is good for white. Objectively speaking, Eric opening went very well for Hanson here. Let's take a look at the game between Šarić and Akobian. Šarić is once again white, and he's now going for the main line, e4, e6, d4, d5, knight c3, bishop b4, e5, c5, a3. They just played the main line of the win-over French. Here, this position divides into a couple other options. Black can play knight e7, black can play queen a5, or just b6, or queen c7. His opponent went for probably the most popular and classic move, knight e7. Šarić went for queen g4. Kasparov's approach in these positions always used to be h4 with complete aggression on the king side and pushing that pawn up to h6, breaking this pawn structure. And on the other hand, positional players, including Karpov and, for example, Nigel Short, instead of queen g4, they always used to play a4 here, getting some space and stopping their queen a5, queen a4 blocking ideas by black. After queen g4, king f8, queen d1, That's a well-known strategy. You just break the castle possibility for black, and then you bring your queen back into, on d1. So after queen c7, knight f3, b6, typical idea of b6 to exchange the light square bishops, and nice move a4 by Shariati. Let me explain you the idea of a4. If his opponent had played bishop a6, Shariati would have gone with bishop b5, killing both of these knights and not allowing his bishop to exchange the light square bishops. That's a well-known idea. If light square bishop takes on b5, a takes b5, and knights on b8 and e7 would be simply completely shut it off. That's a very nice positional trick. So after king g8, now Shariati didn't want to go with that idea, and he now tried to do the minority attack and to get rid himself of that weak pawn. Also to give his dark square bishop diagonal on a3. So after a5, b takes a5, bishop to d3, bishop a6, castles, bishop d3, c takes d3, c takes, knight c6, and bishop a3. h6, I really have to say that queen a4, that I like White's game. After queen a4, he just wants to play rook f to c1. He always has at his disposal bishop d6, rook a b1 if required. So I like this position. It looks okay. On the other hand, black also doesn't look that bad. Black will play king h7. Nothing can jeopardize that king on h7. Then rook should go, probably queen should go to d7, and if there is a possibility with a rook on b8, if not, rook h to c8. Okay. Yeah, this looks like a typical French game with mutual chances there. Bishop d6 is White's idea to control b8 square, which could be of crucial importance for black, because black should be happy with some exchanges in this position, at least with a pair of rooks, if not both. Okay, let's take a look at Shyam's game. Shyam against Forrest Chen. This is such an important game. Because this should be definitely one of the strategy in this match. Shyam has to win this game. Okay, Shyam was doing great so far. I still don't understand why didn't he play that king h6 in that endgame against Fedosev. Probably he saw something, but I'm not sure what. Okay, so knight c4. Well, you gotta remember one thing. I usually teach that my students in Benoni type of games, you're not supposed to exchange pieces, because the more pieces you exchange, it is getting easier for black in this type of games. So that's why I think that if Shyam had gone with knight takes c4, that certainly would be okay, but he's just played f4. What I like about Shyam's games, he's like always on the top of his task. Speaking from tactical point of view, he somehow knows how to really come up with tactics, counter chances in every game, even against big Fedosev, like a guy whose rating is 2730. He managed to come up with some really nice counter chances. Here he's doing fine. I like his position. He's threatening bishop f5. And by the way, I would like to follow this game with a great interest because for our team, this game could really be one of the crucial games in this match. Let's take a look at the game of, let's take shortly at the game between Jarabuc and Lafong. Lafong went for e4 c5, knight f3 g6, d4 c takes. He went for the accelerated dragon. White opted for that d4 variation, and queen takes d4. Knight f6, e5, knight c6, queen a4, knight e5, queen b3. That's a popular line there. Knight c7, knight c3, bishop g7, bishop f4, knight e6. I believe that after knight c3, bishop g7, bishop f4, knight d6. Okay, he played queen a5, and queen d5. I believe white could have gone with long castles, not to allow knight d4 to black. So after queen d5, knight d5, b6, long castles, bishop b7, bishop b5, h6, rook d2, rook c8, knight c5, and this is current position. Okay, white looks a bit better for sure. Simply he's got like space, so not just space advantage but also more activity, and definitely better harmony of his pieces. But on the other hand, I don't see any special weaknesses in black's game here. So d7 pawn could be easily defended. He just played knight c5. Somebody would say, okay, it's a measure of precaution. He wants to defend the pawn on d7. No, that's not the idea. He's threatening here knight e4 to win the bishop pair. That's a good one. Let's go to Eric's game. Eric Hanson against Vladimir Fedosev. Eric's position looks great. So let's get back to move 9. When he played h3, we just stopped that game and we said that Eric has to be absolutely solid there. So after rook e8, bishop d3, a6, a4, bishop f8 castles, knight bd7, bishop f4, knight h5, bishop g5, s6, bishop e3, g6, knight e2, knight g7, rook e1, knight e5, bishop f1, bishop d7, queen b3, queen c7, and this is exactly what I told you. Don't play knight c4 in these positions. It just relaxes black and gets them more space to maneuver. f4, knight f7, knight c4, rook eb8. Eric's position looks awesome. This is really good. This is really good. He's squeezing out his opponent, and let's just hope that he'll be able to play this game on the... Oh, I love the move e5. Wow. e5. I'm actually absolutely not sure about the final outcome of this move, but I like it. I don't know why. Even though it's nothing, I actually like his spirit in this game. Eric wants to win. Eric wants a full point here. Very brave. Okay, somebody would say that's logical because his position is like way better, but still, e5, I like it. Let's now try to take a look at this move. Black should not take. Eventually, Eric will have some d6 to win the queen on c7. What I'm afraid of, what can happen if he tries with b5. A takes, rook takes a8, rook takes a8, knight d6, something like that. And probably he can win the pawn on b5 eventually. Eric's position looks great. It really looks great. I just have to say a funny comment by a Chessbrahs fan in the chat room. Eric is looking like he just got back from the church. The way he's dressed. No, I actually have to tell you, I told him, Eric, lately you're very elegant and I like your fashion style lately. He became very serious and Maybe he's just getting older, right? Okay, so f takes c5. Eric's move. F takes c5, man. Hurry up. Let's go. You certainly want to go for that. Exactly. D takes c5. Well, you know what? I said that Black certainly shouldn't take this pawn on e4, probably because of some phantoms there. Knight e4 here. Block these pieces. Threaten knight f6. Support the d6 control. Stop some b5 and b4. I like this one. This looks good. This looks good. By the way, I just have to tell you that I'm checking the comments on the chess.com as well. And at the moment, Fabiano Caruana came and said this nearly looks lost for Black. So that's very encouraging for us who are cheering up and rooting for Chessbrah. That's great because this would be a great break in this match. Okay, and he's coming up with the line 95, bishop e6, bishop c4. I'm just coming up with Fabiano Caruana's analysis. By the way, don't forget, Caruana last year was our first board. Nowadays, he's first board of St. Louis Archbishops. Also, I have to remind you that Caruana so far in this competition has one of the high scores. So it's good that he's not in the team for sure. So 95, Eric went for that. Eric is playing like Fabiano Caruana. That's great. Bishop e6, bishop c4. Here we go, baby. Exactly. Bishop e6. He's hanging right now. Okay. So most likely, if bishop c4, queen takes c4, bishop d6. No, if bishop c4, probably Eric has to take back by knight. So Eric has to take back by knight. Now even Caruana is changing his opinion and saying not lost, could be holdable. Bishop d6. Bishop takes e6. Something is happening there. Wait a sec. Does Eric have bishop d5? Exactly. I couldn't believe my eyes that this guy blundered an exchange there. Wow, Eric is having great chances to win this game. This is great. So knight on f7 is hanging. He's got a bishop here. He's down a pawn, but he can always win an exchange there. Bishop d5. Threatening to take that rook on a8. Wow, can we see finally one great result in this match? Apart from Shyam against Jacobian, because we desperately need it. Okay, I mean, he can always take the rook on a8, so he certainly shouldn't rush with his decision here. If he plays rook f1, knight f5, that could be bad. Rook f1, knight f5. That's what I don't like. Okay, we'll get back to Eric Hanson's game. Let's just briefly check out our games. Hudinovic or Shyam. Shyam position is absolutely unclear, like in all his games. By the way, I don't want to go back with all the moves anymore. I just want to briefly go from one game to another. We're just checking the game between Shyam and Forrest Chan. Shyam's position looks double-edged. In the worst case, it's completely unclear, which is good. By the way, we need win there. Then let's go to the game between Shariati and Jacobian. It looks like a typical boring French game where they would probably exchange like tons of pieces and make a draw. at some point. At the moment, Akobian is up a pawn. He's like two passed pawns, but okay, these pawns are pretty useless on a7 and a5. Šarić has an activity, so this is more or less equal type of game. Okay, let's go to Lafong's game. Lafong, Jarabuc against Lafong. Well, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm concerned here, this looks holdable for black, but definitely looks better for white because of more space, better harmony of white pieces, and okay, this is better for white. He's just threatening f5, and probably he has to go with e6. Maybe it's, as long as the pawn stands on a6, you can always go with e6, because simply white shouldn't have an easy possibility to take advantage of the d6 square. But also e6 is so obliging, because then you're just so weak on the dark squares. I don't know. For example, speaking from my point of view, I don't like this type of games because I don't like to defend myself, and I don't know how to do it properly. F4 followed by F5. Let's get back to game between Eric Hanson and Fedosev. Ooh, some things are moving fast there. After bishop d5, 28th move. Let's go to the 28th move. After bishop d5, queen c7, rook f1, knight, rook f8. Why didn't he play knight f5? I don't know. Bishop takes a8, queen takes a8. Eric went with rook a to e1, knight f5, bishop f2, probably to keep controlling the d4 and the dark squares. Queen b8, knight d5, queen d6, knight takes b6. I guess if rook b8, he's gonna have a5. Oh, well, this should be winning for Eric, for sure. He's up on exchange. This guy doesn't even have a pawn anymore for that exchange. So this really looks great. Also, with this last move, knight b6, he managed to break these pawns, and now he just created like two pawns, isolated pawns on a6 and c5. I like this one. So this is looking good. This is looking good for Hanson. For sure, he's winning here. He just has to now show his class and finish off his opponent. Well, it's time to make some comeback, and it's time to make the vengeance for the last year. Unbelievable comeback by St. Louis Archbishops. Don't forget, before the last round, we were always leading, for example, not 5-3, but 7-5, and we would always lose those matches. At some point, we were even leading 8-5 or something like that, and we even managed to lose the match. Actually, we didn't lose the match. They equalized, and eventually in the tie breaks, after two tie breaks, they managed to win them. So let's just see what's gonna happen there. Rook b8, a5, of course. You know what? At some point, I'm considering some crazy g4, but that's so weakening. I wanted to say a couple of times g4, 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 but knight d4 and some knight f3, queen c6. I see some counter chances by black. Rook to d1, I like it, solid. It's very... I like also potential of the rook on f1. Look at this one, for example. It's not a line, but I just give you an example. Queen f7, bishop d4, somehow some tactics like that. Not here, of course. I'm just saying that could be one of ideas. Will Eric take the pawn on a6? Is he really interested in material so much? Or his opponent wants to go with some knight h3, knight f3 here? What is he gonna go for? Maybe b4 to undermine the knight on d4. Exactly. At some point, I was just wondering, would he really go for pawn on a6? No, he actually played that to play b4 and to undermine on d4. I like it, Eric. Go, man. We need it. We need it, especially now. Let's briefly check the game between Ivan Šarić and Akobian. Well, it's pretty difficult endgame. What I don't like about this endgame is this potentially crazy pawn on a4. His queen is under the attack. He has to put the queen on e7 or on d7, I'm not sure. And then, of course, he always... Sorry. He's always gonna look for knight g4, knight f6. But king in that case has an escaping square on g6. Anything can happen in this game, but I wouldn't like to be in white skin. Definitely. Akobian is on only 25 seconds. Now let's briefly check Hudinovic's game. So Shyam against Forrest Chen, this is absolutely unclear with mutual chances. And what I don't like about this game is pretty naked queen and naked king on h8, absolutely without any protection. So probably some f3 is screaming to be played at some point, not here. I'm not a big fan of Shyam's position here. Queen g4, I only see queen g7 there. He played rook b8. Just like I said, I'm not a big fan of this position, but I'm a big fan of this guy and the way he goes in his time troubles, and I just put all our hopes and let's just put all our vibes and let's just send him all our positive vibes. So queen g7. Okay, what if queen h4, king g8, bishop e6, bishop f7. Okay, let's get back to Eric's game. Eric is much better. Let's get back to Šarić's game. Wow, something happened there. Wait a sec, I can't... Wow, this king is just walking all over the board. Look at this. Look at this. Šarić is... Wait a sec. Queen h5, g5. Queen h5, g5, g4, king e5, 97, king d6, queen h5, g5. So he's got to defend the pawn on e5, 97. Queen h5, g5, 97. It's a good thing. Šarić is up 2.5 minutes. Also, he played knight g4. Queen d1, king h2, I guess. This must be winning. Take the pawn on e6. Take it, then you'll think, oh my God. Oh, he blundered with. Oh, this is unbelievable blunder. Oh, are we gonna stop making blunders in this competition? This is in completely winning game. I cannot find the word. Oh, it's really difficult to get back into the match and to an element. Let's check what is Eric gonna do in that game. Eric played 97, Queen G3. Oh, I'm so disappointed after such a loss. I believe he was at least he must have the winning position. Eric captured on d4. That's great. Eric is winning there. Eric is completely winning. Fedoseev is like one step from resigning this game. Oh my God, he played Queen A4 and blundered the whole queen. Oh, does this really have to happen? I mean, every single round we blunder like 2 rooks, 2 queens, 2 pieces. Eric is winning. That's a good news. And Eric is winning. I mean, we really have to follow this game till the end because Fedoseev is their first board, their best board in this match. And this should be a great break. By the way, they're leading 6-3. Fedoseev playing rook e8 wants to come up with some tactics, but nothing. Eric is so experienced, and I mean, his upper rook. Don't tell me that he can blunder another queen in this position. Yes, Eric Hanson won by resignation. Let's go to and check the Shyam's game. Shyam is in crazy position like any other time. Queen c4. Okay, he promoted another queen. He's 6 seconds down on the clock. I'm not gonna say anything here because it's looking completely crazy. I cannot count anything here. Queen h6. He now blundered the queen. He also blundered. What is happening with our guys? I mean, can it be? He lost. That was terrible. That was terrible. I mean, how could he blunder all these pieces? How could he do that? King b7, king b7, okay. I thought about king b7. Take the pawn, please. Yes, exactly. That's great, great. He's having some chances to make a comeback. Please, man. We need something in this match. We need some luck. I don't know, king somewhere. Did he have a chance to exchange the queens and to support these pawns with his rook? That's my question. Queen c7. Queen c7 to attack the pawn on f4 if he moves the queen. Why that move? Why not king d8? Now rook g8 and he's lost. This is terrible. This is terrible. I mean, unbelievable what they did in the last couple of minutes. Okay, we're now checking the game Shariati against Lafong. What I like about this position is knight and queen. Wow, Shyam first didn't make a draw against Fedoseev in that position. Now in completely crazy position. Let's take a look. I believe that Lafong play knight h3. Knight h maybe not knight h3. He wants to knight h3 g6, but then he's going to maybe have problems with his knight. This is really going bad for us. I mean, this is crazy. Every single match we go into the last round where we just need to win like 4-0 to save the match. Oh, now Lafong is lost. This is really unbelievable. First Shariati in winning position blundered the queen. Actually, first Shyam didn't make a draw against Fedosev. Then Shariati blundered the queen. Then Shyam in completely unclear game. Actually, why did he give up that queen on a1? Now Lafong in pretty drawish endgame. He's lost. Really bad. Let me just show you what happened in the Shariati's game. So let's just go back to move number 34. He played knight f6. His opponent played king g6. He played queen e8. He played king f5. Now I'm running the engine. I'm not trying to be smart because we don't have enough time before the fourth round begins. Then he went with knight g4. Engine says queen h5, g5, and knight d7, and completely lost. But okay, I guess his move was winning as well. He played knight g4. He played knight g4, and after queen d1, king h2, king e4. Here, during the game, I was just begging for queen e6 and to simply get that pawn, start pushing the e pawn, and win the position. He played queen takes a4. That's unbelievable blunder. Also, don't forget, Forrest Chen made a break. He beat Shyam, our Terminator, and he made such an important, almost crucial win in that match. Let's go. Hua Lafong against Forrest Chen. We're gonna follow this game with a great interest as well. His opponent went for some sort of Ragozin variation. Knight f3, knight f6, c takes d5, and bishop g5 is the main line. Bishop g5 is just a bit weaker continuation. He went for the best one, and bishop g5 exactly. And now rook c1, for example. That's my favorite move, and I believe the main move in the theory is just e3 for white. People believe in 4-0. Believe me, after what we've seen in the past rounds, what we've seen in this round, I don't believe in 4-0. Unfortunately, I have to say that. I had such a good feeling about this match, and don't forget, we were easily winning this match, but don't know what to say. Crazy blunders happen. So c5, that's why I like rook c1 to control the knight on c3 all the time. So a3 c5. It's not that I don't want to believe. Believe me, I want to believe in 4-0 and the great comeback more than anything else. But simply based on what we've previously seen, such a big blunders, such a serious blunders, whole queens, rooks, mates, bad blunders in mutual time troubles. That's really bad. And a guy who's just following this, Liam Chess 12 says, guys, the odds say we have 1% to make a draw and to win 4-0. I agree with that. Okay, that was Lafong's game against Forrest Chen. Let's take a look at the game between Hanson and Akobian. Hanson went for his... Hanson is playing good tonight. Hanson is playing good tonight. He's playing against Akobian. He went for his Grunfeld opening. Favorite weapon, and after Knight takes d5, e4, knight takes e3, b takes e3, bishop g7, bishop e3, c5. Eric went for, Kobian went for knight f3, and here black can play queen a5 or castles. So these are the two main lines. He knows his stuff and he probably wants to come up with something, but judging by his facial expressions, he also can't believe what was happening in this match. Okay, we're just waiting for Eric's move, but this is very well-known theory. Yes, he went with queen a5. Now the best move is queen d2. He's gonna go with short castle. I know what he's gonna do here because I used to coach him this variation, so he played knight c6. Rook c1, that's the best move for white in order to play d5. But why did he play knight c6? Why not short castle? I'm not so sure about the quality of the knight c6 move. Probably he's got some analysis here and he knows his stuff, but I prefer short castle. Okay, this is probably a6 here to stop rook b5. C takes. He now has to exchange the queens or still to play castle and to allow his opponent to take on a5, where there is a typical exchange idea in Grunfeld where the knight goes on a5, it just goes on c4 and controls the game in a good way. Okay, queen d2, king d2, short castle. That's a logical follow-up, and then I believe king c2 played Kramnik in one of his games. I'm not so sure. I believe it was against Geary or Svidler. So queen d2, king d2, short castle, and then just king c2. Yes, king d2, short castle, and now king c2. I believe Kramnik played in one. But king c2 does not work because of bishop g4. No, then d5. Then bishop f3, knight e5, and rook c8. Okay, let's check what's happening in the game between Fedoseev and Šarić. Let's check the opening. d4, knight f6, c4, a6, knight f3, bishop b4. It's Bogo Indian defense. Knight bd2, castles, a3, bishop e7, g3, c5, d takes. He went for a5 to stop b4. And after bishop g2, by the way, don't forget, we need to win 4-0 if we want to win this match. No draw should be possible. So after bishop c5, castles, knight c6, knight e1, d5, knight d3, bishop e7, b3, e5, sorry, d4, b4, rook e8, b5, knight e7, bishop e2, knight g6. I guess Šarić probably has to go with some e5, and if I was in his place, I would go with some h5 and h4 just to go with some crazy stuff on the king side, trying to do some nerve-wracking game. Let's move on to the game between Shyam and Jarebiuk. Shyam's position looks okay. It was neither opening, and after more or less typical neither moves, Shyam went for a4. That's a bit unusual approach against neither, but I know that Gatakamsky on regular basis use it in his classic games. Idea is not only to stop b5, which is one of the main neither and black ideas in this position, but also idea is to play sometimes a5 with control of the dark squares. After g6, bishop e2, bishop g7, castles. Now they're playing some sort of dragon defense. Actually, not some sort of. Now they transposed into one of the main lines of the dragon. Main sidelines, sorry. Knight c6, queen d2, bishop d7, rook f to d1. Don't forget they're just playing for one draw, and I believe this pretty much simplifying approach by white is pretty decent approach by black. And let's just hope that all that luck for these guys in this match, all that luck for them last year in the last 15 seconds, that can bring us some luck in this just in one round. Let's just hope for our 15 seconds in this match. So we have to believe in that. Queen d4, knight f6, rook d2, e5, queen e3. Shyam's game looks normal, and that pawn on a5, that should be a crucial positional piece for white. Now turns out to be a bit obligatory for white, because he cannot move this rook from a1 because pawn on a5 is hanging. d5, you see, black's approach is strictly playing for the draw. A rook d5, bishop d5, c4. That's what I do, because bishop c4, rook c1. Unless I blundered something. No, it works. So rook d5, bishop d5, c4. If he wants to do something in this game, at least trying to use the pawn majority on the queen side. Let's take a look at Lefong against that Cheng guy. Lefong, okay, he's doing fine with the bishop pair, so his position is more or less normal. To be honest, I don't see any special positive sides for and positive things in white's position in comparison to black's position. Okay, white has a bishop pair, but on the other hand, white has a potentially very weak pawn on c3. So if Lefong has to do something, Lefong has to be tactical. He has to be very active and to do something very, very aggressive. Let's take a look to Eric Hanson against Akobian. Akobian is doing a bit better. Typical Grunfeld game. Let's just go back to move number 12, when the king captured on d2. Eric went for short castle, bishop d3. I was expecting king c2, but then I realized that bishop g4 might happen. Eric played d6 to stop potential d5 ideas by white. Rook h to c1, rook d8, rook c4. Typical idea in these positions to protect the pawn on d4. Bishop d7, bishop g5. And now it's Eric's turn. Well, a rook c8 or f6. Wait a sec, he can't play rook c8 because a rook takes b7. So he would have to play f6 in this position. Let me take a look at the game. Between Shariati and Fedosev. To be honest, this is exactly what I expect from the last round. When you play the match where you simply have to win all your games. I like Shari's position. Looks very flexible. Looks potentially very dangerous. And I like it. And I would still go with some crazy h5 and h4. I wouldn't hesitate. I would actually like to go from all sides. So in the center I have these pawns on d4 and e4. I also want to go with h5 and h4. At some point I want to go bishop f5, knight g4, queen g5. But for that one, I just need my h file to be open. So yeah, this looks okay. This looks okay. At least looks exactly the way I expected. Let's get back to Shyam's game against Jarabiuk. He played c4. His opponent played bishop e6. We spoke about that. A 22nd move, rook takes d5, bishop d5, c4, bishop e6, and now b4. Just like I said, the only hope for Shyam in that game could be the pawn majority. That could be the only hope, and that's what he has to do. So bishop f1, okay, but I would try to do something more like exactly rook d8. And now he's gonna stick his rook on d4, and he's gonna completely paralyze Shyam. I believe he had to play b5 before, because if now rook d8 was played, then he would have like b5. But okay, that's pretty. I don't know. It just looks a bit better for black right now, because c4 could turn out to be weak a5 as well. He controls the only open file in the game. He wants to stick that rook on d4. Yeah, let's take a look at another game. Hanson against Jacobian. Hanson played f6. I'm talking about 16 move after bishop g5, f6, bishop e3, and he played b6. b6 is very obliging here by black because yes, he defends the pawn on b7, but at the same time that b6 creates a very serious weakness on a6. So light square bishop would like eventually to come to a6, while both of these rooks would like to keep controlling the c file. By the way, once again, if you're wondering why do I jump from one game to another, because I desperately want to believe that some miracle might happen in this match and we can somehow win this 4-0. And that's why with even interest, I'm just following all these games at the same time. Probably Eric should play some rook a c8 or f5 here, controlling the game like this. Okay, I also have to tell you one more thing. So Eric's game looks equal. Yeah, this is exactly the white's game. He probably wants to put that rook back, for example, on c2 or on c3, and to play bishop a6 next. If white does that, he's going to be winning. So Eric has to be very cautious here, and he has to prepare some knight a5 or knight b4 ideas there. Maybe bishop f8, knight b4. Let's take a look at the game between Fedosev and Šarić. Nothing has changed there. It's Šarić's turn. He played queen d5. Probably wants to add that queen into the attack. I apologize for my coughing for most of this. Well, I wouldn't miss the chance to play h5 and h4, especially in situation when white simply doesn't do much. So he's playing kind of very passive, and on the other hand, he has to simply throw out all his pieces onto the king and to try out his luck. This is weird. Shariati was the only guy in our team who before this round had like, all together with Shyam, sorry, who before this round had like positive score. After he lost these two games, even now, even he becomes like one of the guys who's doing like all other chessbrah in this competition, going on average 50%. So that's like really, really weird. Okay, play queen h5 and just do something there. Queen h5, knight g4, or bishop h3, knight g4. He has to go all in. He has to go trying to do something. I mean, somebody made a draw offer. Let me just check in whose game that happened. Eric Hanson offered a draw. Eric, no matter what's happening there, this is the team competition, don't get me wrong, but you have to play till the end and to try, especially because only the queens are off. So I don't quite get the draw offer here, but okay, I guess he knows what he knows what he's doing. But I really don't get his draw offer, to be honest. I mean, we really have to win this match. Everybody has to play, you know, until the very end and until everything is just gone from the board. And he's offering his opponent draw. And now his opponent is rejecting a draw offer. This is crazy. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say for this draw offer. Maybe he's also pissed off after all these wins, but still, doesn't matter. You just have to try until you have the last chance in the match. So I didn't quite like that draw offer. But the funniest thing, his opponent rejected the draw offer and played g4. So, especially considering the fact that Eric maybe is not officially the captain of the team, but he's just one of the guys who's running all these things. So he's the last one who should offer a draw. Okay, let's go to a game between Big Fish and Shariati. So Fedosev and Shariati. Once again, I want to check this game. I like this game. I like this game for black. I mean, I like it in terms of let's fight and try to do something in the last game. Probably and objectively speaking, this is okay for white because he's up upon, oh, knight f4. Exactly, that's what I'm talking about. Let's go for some craziness at least. And throw all your pieces there and you might probably do something. He's now threatening, for example, knight e. Oh, look at this. If g takes bishop f4, mate is almost undefendable. And he's threatening knight takes e2, king h1, knight takes c1 to win an exchange. So this is looking good. Or knight e2, king h1, bishop g4. Oh, I like this. I like this. We're gonna get back to this game. Somebody should warn Eric that his opponent unbelievably rejected a draw offer that would win the match. Don't get me wrong, but this is the team competition. You never know if you're gonna win or if you're gonna lose all your games. So even Akobian's decision not to accept the draw is also weird. And now Eric should be pissed off and to say, okay, I want to win the game. So f3. This looks now good. This now looks good for black. I like it. Yeah, that's what I told you, that I like his position at that point, and yeah, this looks okay. Okay, let's take a look at the game of Lefong. Lefong is he up a pawn? No, he's not up a pawn. But this guy has a bad back rank. Lefong is doing better here. For sure, he's better. I'm not sure if he's slightly much better or maybe even winning with some concrete moves, but I like Lefong's position. This is good. So Shariati is better. Lefong is better. Eric at least has a draw. Or let's just say not has a draw, but position is around being equal. And let's take a look at the game of Shyam. Shyam against Jarabiuk. Well, if Jarabiuk can take control of this a7 g1 diagonal, that should be really bad position for white, but okay, this position also doesn't look that bad for white. Somebody in the chat room said that his position looks suspicious. I don't think it's suspicious. It's okay, more or less. It's just a normal position, so rook e1, queen e3 to attack that pawn, doing some crazy c5, b5. He has to complicate the matters. What I don't like about this game is that he's running out of time, and usually in this severe time troubles he's making like very bad blunders. Rook e1. In my opinion, he played an okay move. So let's get back to the probably at the moment most interesting games. Shariati against Fedosev. Wow, Shariati is doing great there. He's just played queen g6. Wow, he completely dismantled his opponent. Look at the king. Look at the white's king. It's absolutely unsafe. I like Shariati's game so much. And somebody really should warn Eric that he should play this match on, and that he should not make a draw, no matter what happens on the board. By the way, don't forget, Fedosev has a very disappointing performance tonight. He lost already 2 games, and he's on a way to lose the 3rd game in a row. Rook e4 here. Can he play rook e4? Let's go with some craziness. Knight e3. Oh, I love it. This is becoming a masterpiece. Oh, look at this one. Bishop e3, queen g3, knight g2, knight h3, king h1, queen h2 mate. Oh, I love it. Oh, yeah, this is great. Oh, masterpiece. 25 moves, killing 2700. This is really nice. Somebody said Shariati's immortal game. Yeah, I like it so much. Well, but you never know what's gonna happen, and if we're going to blunder some crazy queens there. King h1. Now I don't know how he wants to continue in this position. Queen h2. If queen h2, knight h3, I guess. Yeah. Exactly. This is lost. This is lost, and I'm expecting Fedosev to resign every moment. At least Šarić is giving our guy some hope. I can feel some positive vibes in my voice as well. I was so disappointed after all these blunders in the previous rounds. Believe me, it's so hard to commentate. Rook takes c4, go for it. Rook takes c4. Okay, now bishop e4, and that's completely winning. Šarić is gonna win this. Congratulations, and unbelievable. Their best board, Vladimir Fedosev, made 1 point out of 3 games. He only beat Lafon. That's crazy. That's crazy, and we didn't take advantage of that fact. Do you know how the rest of the team has to play bad, considering the fact that the guy whose rating is 2731 made 1 point out of 4 games? I mean, it's crazy. It's really crazy. Then we really didn't deserve to win anything. Okay, let's take a look at bishop f1, take it. We're still looking at the game. Just move the queen, exactly. Well, not the most convincing play by Šarić. What is happening here? I mean, he was making literally a masterpiece maybe of the Pro League, and he's now complicating the matters. Don't tell me that he's gonna lose this position. I can't believe my eyes, what's happening here, seriously. Wow, this is unbelievable. We've just lost this match. Šarić, believe it or not, lost that game. He lost this game being up a queen. That's almost unbelievable. I don't know what was happening with our guys in this match. Okay, let's take a look at Hanson's game. I mean, this is unbelievable. I'm speechless, seriously. Somebody's saying I'm laughing. No, I'm not laughing. Actually, I cannot believe what's happening to our players. For example, Šarić in all the games tonight was completely winning. But what he lost in this game, I simply cannot believe it still. By the way, Eric is better, if you want to know. Eric is better, slightly better, but he's got some chances there. Threatening bishop e5. Play the bishop e5 to keep the bishop here, exactly. He's gonna win this. And then we'll start wondering what would happen if Šarić won that game with plus zillion on Houdini, probably. Look at this, Eric is much, much better in this position. Rook takes d5. Oh, rook d3 was maybe better first, and then rook takes d5. Yeah, exactly. Not to allow him this move. Eric will play a4, will set his bishop on b3, and will start using the activity of his king. And his king should go for the pawn on h4. He's gonna win that pawn. Then king should go on h5, but it's hard to win this. Objectively speaking, it's hard to win this. He's setting up something here. I want to see which plan he's gonna use. He took the pawn. Now he has to play h6. Not now, I mean king h5 and h6, that's what I meant. But then bishop g7. You see, this is the power of the opposite colored bishops. Wow, Eric Hanson won on time. Eric Hanson won on time. Unbelievable. Now I'm just wondering, why did he offer his opponent a draw? Hua Lefong is winning. Oh my goodness. If Shariati had won this game, we would have had some chances. Wow, Lefong won the game. Lefong won the game. And let me see now Hudinovic. But Hudinovic lost. Well, I believe we just have to close this match. Everything is finished. Everything is done. I also have to finish this commentary. Once again, very disappointed. Once again, very depressed. And I really have to say that I'm actually finishing this commentary way more depressed than in any previous match. Simply, we missed all the chances. Shariati blundered 2 queens tonight. In the third one, he was much better. Eric was the only one who was playing good tonight. He beat Akobian, he beat Fedosev, he beat Forrest Chan. He only lost to Jerebiuk, but Eric's performance tonight was really, really good. Then you have Hua Lefong, who beat Forrest Chan. We were talking about this guy and how we have to make like perfect score against him in order to win the match. Thank you all for supporting me and supporting my commentary, but it's very difficult. It's very difficult to follow these matches. They're very nerve-wracking, and on the other hand, I'm really, really rooting for our guys and honestly want them to win. But like you see, that was very weird match. Shyam didn't make a draw against the Fedosev in position that was drawn. Shyam lost to Forrest Chan in at least drawn position. Shariati lost 3 games, made 2 queen blunders in completely winning positions. In one position, in this last game against Fedosev, I don't know what to say. But just like I said, that's chess, and I guess that's what makes this game even more beautiful, and that's crazy. Just like all previous weeks, I just have to thank you for watching. I just have to thank you for supporting us. Once again, thanks everybody, and bye-bye.